ladies and gentlemen, my name's Eric Schmiel, and this is Still Not Schmiel Show. Today is VEDA Day 6. I actually just uploaded a video a little while ago, but I decided to delete it. Why? Because it wasn't very interesting. It was 9 minutes long, and it went on and it meandered and went back and forth on itself, and the information was repeated over and over. Which got me to thinking, right? It's important to make things that are interesting. And I think the way you make something compelling across all kinds of mediums, whether it's shooting a film, a TV show, writing a book, you know, anything where you're telling a story, including a vlog, the basic fundamental idea is be interesting. No matter what's happening, it should be interesting. And if nothing interesting is happening, you better transition to something that's interesting. Now, interesting doesn't need to mean something that's rapid fire, non-stop, no room to breathe or anything like that. Interesting is a very broad idea. It could be, if it's a film, it could be a very beautiful cinematic shot, in which case the interest is in the visual, right? In a conversation, it could be what the people are saying is interesting. They could be revealing new information that uncovers more of the mystery of the plot. Or they could be saying something funny. Funny is interesting, right? Or they could just be revealing something interesting about themselves, but something interesting has to be happening. And it's also very important to recognize how far that interest takes you, right? At what point does the interest run out? You know, it's nice to look at long, sweeping landscapes, massive, you know, like pictures of the desert with the wind blowing, or pictures of mountains. But it's also important to recognize that, like, you know, you can't just have nothing but sweeping shots of landscapes. That can only hold an audience's attention for so long, right? So, you know, it's just as important as it is to recognize there's the value, you gotta recognize when it's running out, and then you need to switch to something else interesting, right? I remember seeing a guide on how to shoot an interesting action sequence, and they very much said something similar, where always the key to a good action sequence is something new is happening, new information is happening. Oh no, he's reaching for the gun, he's got the gun, he's gonna shoot the gun, no, the gun got knocked away. Now something else is happening. If they're constantly fighting with the gun, you know, it becomes less interesting, unless you find more interesting ways to try to get the gun, right? Now I'm talking about interest over and over and over. This might be starting to get repetitive. Let's try to move on, right? Point is, yeah, it's very much like having a conversation, I guess. You know, it's a very fundamental thing, storytelling. If you're talking to someone, you can recognize where they start to lose interest, right? Are you repeating yourself, like I am now? I think I conveyed the idea. I think it's important to end this, because we're out of interesting stuff. So yeah, I don't know, when you're trying to make something, what's interesting about it? And how far can you take that?